Part 198. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1971. This year's exam is divided into liberal arts and science subjects. The liberal arts examination subjects are Chinese, politics, mathematics, and history and geography. The science examination subjects are Chinese, politics, mathematics, and physics and chemistry. Those who apply for foreign language majors have an additional foreign language test. There are 2 days of exams in total, and one subject is taken in half a day. The 4 subjects total 400 points. It is said that the Shanghai area has completed the exam 10 days in advance. Although Zibao did not apply for the foreign language test, he still took the foreign language test and found that CFA was also taking the foreign language test. The 2 teenagers, who were considered the youngest in the examination room, looked at each other and smiled in unison. "Thank you, Lu Tianmao, your coat is very warm after the exam." CFA took off his coat and gave it back to Zibao. "I haven't been cold in my sleep for the past 2 days. Several educated youths in the same room as me have brought. I'll take the exam. You're kind to me. We must have a meal when we get to the capital." Father Lu and Cheng Baoqiu were waiting outside the examination room and came over when they saw their grandson. Zibao took the coat that CFA returned to him, turned around and took the package carried by Cheng Baoqiu and handed it to CFA. "I'm looking forward to our dinner in the capital. In order to eat for free, you have to take care of yourself. It's a dress my mother made for me. I wear it out and give it to you as a souvenir. When you wear it, you'll remember that you owe me a meal." In fact, it was Cheng Baoqiu and Lu's father who brought him the cotton-padded clothes he brought into the city to replace. He felt that CFA's clothes were still thin even after returning his military coat, but the weather was getting colder and colder. It was like the snow had melted today, and it was worse than when it snowed. It was still cold, so I decided to give it to CFA to wear. People at this time will not dislike old clothes. After all, most of them are filled with patches and are extremely worn out. CFA's lips twitched and he didn't know what to say. Zibao opened it directly and put an old cotton-padded jacket inside on him, and stuffed the rest into his hand along with the furoshiki. "If you feel you deserve it, give me a new one tomorrow. If you trade the old one for the new one, it will be a huge profit. I won't suffer any loss." "Thank you, Lu Tianmao," CFA whispered, keeping it in his heart. "I saw from the newspaper that his grandfather had been rehabilitated. Maybe one day in the future, he would be able to buy a lot of new clothes, but at this moment, these old clothes were as heavy as a mountain, and they were what he needed most urgently." Zibao waved his hand. "You're welcome, CFA, we're going home, goodbye." Lu's father and Cheng Baoqiu remained silent, but they praised their grandson's actions. "You have to thank your mother," Cheng Baoqiu said on the way to Zhao Anbang's house. "If your mother hadn't made you this leather coat, how could you be so kind as to lend your coat to others?" Zibao nodded heavily. "I'll call my mother when I get to my godfather's house." When Feng Qingxiu received the call, she couldn't help but smile. While feeling proud of her son, she said, "You have to be grateful to your old northeastern uncle who. He has been helping our family collect fur and ginseng treasures all these years. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to wear them leather jacket. Then Mom, don't forget to say thank you for me." "Don't worry, I just have something to send them." On the day when her eldest son took the college entrance examination, Feng Qingxiu received another northeastern mountain product from Laohu, including dried pheasant, hare and roe deer, fried pine nuts, hazelnuts and pecans, dried fungus and hazel mushrooms, and canned red intestines, several pieces of tanned mink skin, and a wooden box containing 2 old wild ginseng. The quality is quite good. The mountain goods were prepared by Laohu and were his own, but Lao Ginseng belonged to an old fellow who was in urgent need of money. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1972. Lao Hu's family also had children taking the college entrance examination. At that time, they couldn't buy review materials, so they sent telegrams to Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu. Feng Qingxiu immediately sent them a set of materials, and later bought a set of materials compiled by Zibao. Send it over. Therefore, Lao Hu gave these as a favor and as a thank you gift. Feng Qingxiu read the letter sent by Lao Hu and the package at that time, and immediately took the money from the space and prepared to remit it to him. Too much deposit amount can easily lead to trouble, so she did not deposit the 50,000 Hong Kong dollars in exchange for money in the bank. Being in a high position, every move can easily fall into the eyes of others. They have been coming and going from the beginning, not for free. After evaluating the value of the mountain goods, Lao Jinseng also valued it at 400 yuan. In addition, Feng Qingxiu prepared some specialties from the capital, in-demand supplies, a bundle of fabrics, and a radio ticket for Lao Hu. She thought that if Lao Hu's children were admitted to college or junior high school, they would definitely need food stamps. I also sent some military food stamps. The goods in short supply were bought at the Friendship Store and the Overseas Chinese Store. She had a lot of overseas remittance coupons in her hand. As for the radio tickets, the relatives of the Cotters in the family area wanted to buy things from the Friendship Store and the Overseas Chinese Store, so she asked the Cotter to find Feng Qingxiu exchanged radio stamps, food stamps, and meat stamps for some overseas remittance coupons. Knowing that she had overseas remittance coupons that her family could never use up, many family members in the compound came to her to ask for money for their own homes and the homes of relatives and friends, all in order to buy supplies that were in short supply that were not available in ordinary department stores. The things were ready, but Feng Qingxiu was worried about her son's college entrance examination and hadn't sent them out yet. Now that she heard that her son had successfully passed the exam, Feng Qingxiu finally let go of her heart that was hanging in the air. I will send it to them tomorrow, and I will also express my gratitude to them in the letter. I invited you to dinner, but you refused and just came to sleep at night. How come you are willing to come over during the day after the exam? I wasn't even prepared when Zibao hung up the phone. Zhao Anbang patted him on the shoulder without asking. How did he do in the exam? He didn't ask why Lu Tianzi, Guan Yu, and his wife didn't come together, because he knew that they were not in the same exam room, and those three were all adults. Cheng Baoqiu smiled and said, "We are just trying to calm down." How do you say this? Zhao Anbang looked surprised. Zibao was a little embarrassed, but Father Lu spoke up and said, Zibao said that he got a lot of questions in the test paper, although not half, but a quarter to a third. We also know the importance of the college entrance examination to the candidates. Who among the candidates in our brigade does not have his information? Zibao is worried about the constant stream of candidates coming to visit after returning home, so he came to your place to take a break. Zhao Anbang has no doubt that he understands the enthusiasm of the folks in Wanglu Brigade very well. The college entrance examination is about the fate of a lifetime. Zibao has increased their chances of passing the exam. How can we not be grateful? The way most people say thank you is to give them whatever gifts they can. Lu Zhang was in a high position, and as their eldest son, Zibao could not accept gifts, even if they were out of gratitude. Not bad, Xiao Zibao, you are so capable. If you had no skill and no luck, how could you win so many college entrance examination questions? Zhao Anbang and Yorong Yan said at the same time, and then patted their thighs. I have to tell the printing house and ask them to print more quickly, because they stopped continuing after the college entrance examination was approaching, and the ones that have been printed now are definitely not enough. Sell. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1973. As Zhao Anbang expected, one of the sequelae after the college entrance examination was that the set of college entrance examination materials compiled by Zbao sold like crazy. Even though there are the same question types in the college entrance examination paper, some candidates still can't do it after reviewing the materials. However, the set of essential materials for the college entrance examination did cover a lot of question types. It is said that even the composition in the Chinese test paper the questions were all correct, but unfortunately they were not from this province, but from the neighboring Shandong province. Because of this, essential materials for the college entrance examination was quickly sold to other provinces. The printing factory continued to print more copies, and the factory director and printing workers laughed so hard that they could not see their eyes. This year's college entrance examination is over, and there will be another college entrance examination next year. I heard that it is likely to be in the spring, which is not far away. Indeed, as Zbao expected, the people who came to thank him were like crucian carp crossing the river. Lu Tianzi was smart. During the exam, he felt that Zbao was very popular. He lived directly in the small dormitory at the scrap station without going home. The door of the Lu family was locked and Wan Quilin had already hid with Ansu. Although Guan Yu and Jojo are back, everyone knows that Guan Yu is just Lu Tianzi's cousin. He is said to be a child adopted by the Lu family. After all, his surname is not Lu, and he has already married and started a business. They didn't bother him at first, but everyone was waiting. After 2 days of waiting for Zbao and Lu's father to come back, they came to see Guan Yu and Jojo, almost trampling on the threshold of their house. With a smile and sending away the last person who came to give gifts, Guan Yu quickly closed the door and wiped the sweat from his face. My God, there are too many people. On this day, there are not even 100 but 80 people who came to see Zbao. He knew that Zbao was popular before, but being so popular was enough to refresh his impression. Jojo smiled sweetly and said, "Who told you to be less foresight than Brother Tianzi?" Guan Yu shook his head, "I didn't know they were so crazy." Several students' eyes were red when I looked at them. I don't know whether they stayed up late or were excited. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's go cook and have a good rest for 2 days. I guess the results will come soon. Sure enough, within a few days, the commune came to notify the students who passed the primary selection of Wanglu Brigade to fill out application forms and undergo physical examinations. Guan Yu and Lu Tianzi both had jobs and went to the city to fill out their applications, while Jojo, an educated youth who was sent down to the countryside, went to the commune to fill out the application form together with the candidates whose household registration was in the Wanglu Brigade. A total of more than 200 people from the Wanglu Brigade took the college entrance examination, and a full 150 people passed the preliminary selection. Among them, there is no Zbao, Guan Yu, and Lu Tianzi. Zbao is a fresh graduate. He went to high school in the city and his student status is there. After passing the preliminary election, he quietly sneaked to the principal's office to fill in his application. He directly filled in the law department of Capital University and was already ready to major in economics. He felt that it was imperative for the country to develop the economy and that law was also very important, so he did not apply for majors such as foreign languages and history, which he was good at. His second and third choices were also from prestigious schools in the capital, but he did not check the box on whether to submit to state deployment and allocation. If he checked, he would have to unconditionally assign majors and jobs to the state. The principal looked at Zbao with a kind look, "You will definitely get what you wish for." "Then I will accept the principal's good advice." Zbao's attitude was quite humble, but he was very confident. He estimated his score after the exam and the deduction would definitely not exceed 30 points. The principal laughed loudly, "You probably don't know that you are number 1 in our city and also the number 1 in the province. I caught a cold from the cold yesterday, so I will update half of it first, and continue to code. Please vote." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1974. The total score is 400 points. For non-foreign language majors, English is not included. Zibao scored 394 points, mainly due to deductions in politics and Chinese. Everything else was full marks, including English. Including English, he scored 494 points. At this time, except for the transcripts that the students received when they were admitted and the teachers who handled the transcripts, the college entrance examination results will not be announced to the public. Even if a list of those who passed the preliminary selection is posted, only the ranking will be based on the number of points deducted. Points will be deducted. Of course, the one with the least number is first, and so on, that's all, no one knows their score. Although it is just that, it is shocking that the youngest Lu Tianmao is at the top of the city high school list. This list includes all the candidates who took the exam in the city high school, about thousands of people, not just from this high school. Graduates. Zibao didn't look at the list, and he didn't get the report card at this time. Hearing what Principal Zhou said, he was slightly surprised. First in the city? First in the province? We just came down from the primary election, and we have already completed the statistics for the province. Impossible, Principal, please don't coax me. According to my guess, it will take some time for the report card to come out. Once the college entrance examination, which has been stagnant for 10 years, resumes, it will be no less than an earthquake. Zibao and his family elders have estimated that there are at least 5 million people taking the college entrance examination across the country. There must be more than 100,000 candidates in Huihei City alone. This is a big province, and there must be millions of people in the province. How can it be possible in Huihei City? Calculate the province's score ranking in such a short period of time. I won't be able to get out within a month. Principal Zhou smiled and said, "Young man, no wonder you did so well in the exam, your head is spinning so fast." After teasing, he said seriously, "It's just that your ranking came out first. I don't know the scores of the others yet, because your scores were deducted the least, with full marks in 3 subjects and only a few points deducted in 2 subjects. This directly shocked our city. The Education Department and the Provincial Education Department soon found out, partly because of the information you compiled. Tisk, once the news spreads that Lu Tianmao is the top scorer in the province's college entrance examination, the essential materials for the college entrance examination will definitely be more popular, maybe it can be sold all over the country, unlike now it is only circulated in the city and surrounding and neighboring provinces." Zibao touched his head and said, "It's just a fluke, it's just a fluke. There is no luck in knowledge, only accumulation." President Zhou once suffered the pain of being decentralized and was recalled to work a few years later. Compared with some scholars who have not yet recovered their reputations, this is a fluke for him. Your grades are so good. Okay, I guess they will be the first batch of students to receive the admission notice, so please wait at home. Zibao bowed with a sincere expression, "Thank you for your tolerance for me these 2 years. Even after graduation, if I have the opportunity to visit you in the future, please don't turn me away." Principal Zhou was delighted. "You are the star of our school, who dares to shut you out?" The top scorer in the first college entrance examination that resumed the college entrance examination will always be remembered in history. Zibao was a little embarrassed by the teasing, so she handed the completed volunteer form to Principal Zhou and quickly found an excuse to leave. "Don't forget the physical examination. The physical examination form must be handed in together with the volunteer form," Principal Zhou shouted from behind. "I know, let's go now." With a scarf covering half of his face, Zibao returned to Zhao Anbang's house in a hurry after completing his physical examination. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1975. Zhao Anbang lives alone. His parents moved to a nursing home in Shifoshan, Huihei City after his father came back for recuperation, so Lu's father and brothers Cheng Baoqiu took Zibao to live in his home temporarily. Now the old brothers were playing chess and looked up when they heard the sound. He looked at Zibao, who was taking off his coat, hat, and scarf. "You're back. Have you filled out your volunteer form?" Zibao nodded. "Principal Joe said I got first place in the exam. The first one is the number one scholar." Father Lu and Cheng Baoqiu are very happy, especially Father Lu. Scholars have a complex of number one scholar. When they learn that they are number one in the city, the province, not the school, they are even more proud. What's more, when Zhao Anbang came back from get off work in the evening, he invited him to a state-owned restaurant for dinner as a celebration. "My son is the number one pick. Then we must celebrate." Zhao Anbang slapped his thigh. Let's go now." Zibao said sheepishly, "Isn't it necessary? If others find out, they might say I'm frivolous. I haven't even gotten my transcript. When I get the admission notice, I'll treat my two grandfathers and my godfather to dinner." Among his brothers and sisters, he has the most pocket money. His parents sent him money regularly, and his grandparents sent him a big solidarity note every now and then. His personal savings already amounted to thousands. Zhao Anbang laughed, asked Lu's father and Cheng Baoqiu for their opinions, and said, "Then we will wait for my son's filial piety. But you can call your mother and tell her to make her and your father happy. This is what is necessary." Zibao dialed the number without saying anything. Although the phone bill is really expensive, it doesn't hurt at all at this time. In the end, it was not Feng Qingxiu who answered the phone, but Lu Erxian, who shouted at the top of his voice, "Hello, hello, who are you? Can't you hear my voice?" "You still ask?" Zibao said helplessly. "Brother," Lu Erxian's voice became louder and he immediately chattered, "I heard from my mother that you have finished the exam. When will you and Grandpa come over? I miss you so much. Dun Dun and Zhuang are bad. My aunt gave me money to buy things, but they just bought expensive ones together, and they didn't want to buy them together with me, which made me sad." Therefore, he no longer calls Dun Dun his elder brother. How could anyone treat him like an elder brother? He only loves Zhuang but not him. Zibao heard the grievance in his younger brother's tone and couldn't help laughing. He had already settled the specific situation in the letter sent to him by his sister, and said perfunctorily, "I will comfort you after I get home. Please let Mom answer the phone. Mom is not at home. She is undergoing surgery. It started in the morning and it is not over yet. Dad has gone to pick up Mom." Zibao was embarrassed to tell him about her first place in the exam, so she immediately changed her words and said, "When Dad and Mom come back, ask them to call me back. I'll go cook first." Lu's father can't cook, Cheng Baoqiu is an average cook, and Zhao Anbang only has one arm. Cooking is Zibao's job. As an elder, I don't care about my child because I love him so much that he doesn't work hard on his limbs. Lu Erxian still had more to say. "Brother, let's talk about the conversation. You can buy a pound of high-quality pork belly after 2 minutes on the phone and still have some left over." Zibao said one sentence and Lu Erxian hung up the phone. The call stopped at 2 minutes and 3 seconds. By then, it would take 3 minutes to pay the phone bill. Money, 50 cents a minute. It's such a waste. "We could have talked for another 50 seconds," Zibao muttered. Father Lu and Cheng Baoqiu looked at each other and smiled. Zhao Anbang dug out a bag of vermicelli from the kitchen with one hand. "I ask someone to leave me a piece of fat pork belly during the day. Let's eat pork and cabbage stewed with vermicelli at night." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1976. We are old and can't digest meat at night, so we might as well eat noodles and poached eggs. Today, your Aunt Quillen rolled out a lot of noodles for T&Z who came to fill in the application form. It is enough for us to eat for several days. There are also it's a big piece of chili oil. I'll save the meat and send it to you tomorrow at noon, Father Lu said, and received Cheng Baoqiu's approval. Chili oil is made from mutton fat. Cut a little and mix it with the hot noodles in a bowl. It will be red and fragrant and make everyone sweat, and a sense of comfort will be revealed from the pores. Before Zibao finished his bowl of noodles, he received a call from Feng Qingxiu. Zibao, why did you call me specifically? Feng Qingxiu's voice was tired, but she was very concerned about her eldest son. Usually it was not an urgent matter, so he would not call. Zibao said with concern, Mom, you are very tired from work. Go and have a rest early. I don't have anything important to do. I just learned about my college entrance examination results from Principal Joe when I was filling out my application. I wanted to tell you and my father. Feng Qingxiu perked up. Have you filled in your application? Is it Capital University? Yes, the Department of Law at Capital University, and then the Department of Economics as a minor. After Zibao answered, he continued, Principal Joe said that of my 5 examination subjects, only politics and Chinese were deducted by 6 points, and my total score can be said to be the first in the province. Feng Qingxiu exclaimed, he's the top scorer in the college entrance examination. My son is awesome. In my previous life, what was the score of the top scorer in science in the 1977 college entrance examination in my own province? I don't know, but it's definitely not as high as my eldest son's score of 494. What should I do if I feel too proud? Zibao pursed his lips and smiled, when I get the admission notice, I will go to the capital with my grandparents. Mom is looking forward to your return home. Feng Qingxiu had the next day off and decided to clean the rooms of San Lao and Zibao again. Old ones and little ones, don't bring too much luggage. You can throw it away if you are at home, leave it at home, and if you can pack it, and mail it. We don't need the postage, so don't burden yourself. Zibao said hurriedly. Brother Tianzi, Guan Yu, and sister-in-law Jojo plan to apply for universities in the capital. Sister-in-law Jojo wants to apply for Capital Normal University. Brother Tianzi applies for the Spanish Department of Capital University. Brother Guanyu said he wants to apply for Chinese language and literature. If they are admitted as expected, we can go on the road together, you don't have to worry. That's great. Our whole family can be reunited. Your brother Guanchen's application is also in the capital. After all, his job is in the capital. Neither party wants to give up. Feng Qingxiu was even happier. Didn't sister-in-law Wang Ziyu from my brother's house in Guancheng take the college entrance examination? Grandpa Jin is very concerned about her. Feng Qingxiu answered her son, I applied to the normal university in the capital. I think there is a high chance of getting admitted. The country now gives priority to admissions to majors such as medicine and normal school. Her grades are also good. With the help of your brother Guancheng, she can take the exam. She must be ranked very high. Tell your grandfather that your sister-in-law Xiaoyu also took the college entrance examination. She took the exam in the Southeast Military Region and applied directly to the school there. After Zhang Xiaoyu joined the army in the Southeast Military Region, she had no job and was very leisurely. After receiving Feng Qingxiu's advice, she threw her son into the Yaheng class for a while and picked up the books. Unexpectedly, he did not do well in the exam. She still passed the primary election, and she was so happy that she immediately called Feng Qingxiu and her father Zhang Yun to tell her. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1977. Okay, Mom, I'll tell Grandpa right now, you should go and have a rest. You're very tired, and I feel bad for you. Although Zibao was full of things to say to his mother, his mother's body had the upper hand and he kept talking, urging her to hang up. Feng Qingxiu felt warm in her heart and smiled brightly. Okay, I'll hang up. Say hello to your two grandfathers and godfather for me. Nu. After hanging up the phone, Feng Qingxiu immediately informed her husband of her son's college entrance examination results. Lu Zhang was very proud after hearing this, as expected of his son. Without me, how could you have such an outstanding son? Feng Qingxiu glanced at him sideways. So you are the great hero of our family. Lu Zhang is still very flattering at his age. I will give you water to wash your face and feet. You have a good rest at night. I will ask someone to pay attention to the admission notice release time. That's your son. If you don't pay attention, who will? Although she was exhausted, Feng Qingxiu's spirit was very exciting, and there was a strong sense of pride in the corners of her eyebrows. If she didn't still have sense, she would have wanted to tell the world. Zibao is so young, I didn't expect him to get the first place in the exam. I really want to thank the old man and the old lady at home for their guidance. Lu Zhang poured the washing water for her and said, wash your face first. You will see your son soon. Feng Qingxiu then stopped talking. Don't forget your son's admission notice, and don't ask someone to pretend to be you. Impersonation is not uncommon. It will still happen in future generations, let alone now. In her previous life, she heard from her grandparents about a friend who took the college entrance examination in 1977 and was actually admitted to Jinling University. However, the notice was intercepted by the cadres of their commune and was given to her relatives with the same name and surname to go to school. As a result, the elder grandparent of friend had to take the college entrance examination in 1978. After hearing this, Lu Jiang's eyes flashed with a stern expression. My son's performance is not something that can be replaced by anyone who wants to. If anyone really dares to do this, I will make him miserable. Don't worry, I will pay attention to this thing. Not only do we need to pay attention to our son, but we also have to put an end to cheating in the college entrance examination. It is not easy for every candidate. Lu Zhang said solemnly, don't worry, I will talk to the officials from the Ministry of Education later on how to put an end to this unhealthy trend. That's fine. As long as you are here, I don't care about this. I only care about my son. They don't know that Lu Tianmao is already somewhat famous in the education world because of essential materials for the college entrance examination. Although transportation and communication are inconvenient now, the opening of the college entrance examination heralds that the country is beginning to pay attention to knowledge. The emergence of such a college entrance examination material, written by a young graduate, how could it not attract the attention of the education industry? Especially since his college entrance examination score was only deducted by a few 6 points. Not to mention a province, even the whole country, there is no one with a score that can catch up with him. Passed on from one person to another, everything that needs to be known is known. Therefore, after receiving the application form, Capital University immediately sent Lu Tianmao's admission notice, along with 5 other students from Huihei City. One was Lu Tianzi, whose score was second only to Lu Tianmao. One is Guan Yu, whose grades are above average, the other is Sci-fi, whose grades are second to Lu Tianzi, and the other 2 are named Zhang Zhiguo and Wang Qingkan. It was discovered that in addition to Zhang Zhiguo and Sci-fi, the home addresses of the other 4 people were in the Wanglu Brigade. The teacher who handed out the admission notice could not help but wipe his eyes. After seeing clearly, he sighed with emotion. It is really remarkable that a mountain village has 4 candidates admitted to Capital University. You must know that there are only 6 in the entire Huihei city. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1978. Wang Qingkan is the eldest grandson of Wang Zhenqiu, and he is almost 30 years old. He followed the example of the children of the Lu family and turned down the quota for the workers, Peasants and Soldiers University. In recent years, he has been farming at home. Seeing that some of the workers, peasants, and soldiers' college students returned home after graduation, and some were assigned jobs by the state, he regretted it. But with the restoration of the college entrance examination system, he knew why the Liu family did not let their children go to the Workers', Peasants, and Soldiers' University. He admired and appreciated it. Although they are both college students, those who are admitted and those who are recommended are definitely different, and the weight is different. The former has a 4-year school system, while the latter has a maximum of 2 years and a minimum of 1 year. What can you learn from doing revolution every day? Therefore, the shrewd Wang Qinkan knows everything. The child who notified him to get the admission letter was his son, nicknamed Madu, who was 5 years old this year and was very clever. When Wang Qinkan took the exam, it was Madu and his grandfather Wang Dachun who sent his father to the examination room. So he listened to what the postman and his grandfather said in the brigade office, turned around and ran all the way home, shouting at the top of his voice, "Dad, Dad, you got into college, and Uncle Zibao and his Uncle Tianzi and Uncle Guanyu, you all got into Capital University." It didn't matter if he didn't shout, but once he shouted, it shocked the entire Wanglu brigade. Although more than 200 people in their brigade took the college entrance examination, 150 passed the preliminary selection, and basically passed the physical examination. Several candidates had already received notices from universities, colleges, and other higher education institutions in the province or city, and even educated youth from Shanghai were admitted to universities in Shanghai, but no one was admitted to Capital University. That is Capital University, the highest institution of learning, second only to Renmin University. The most important thing is that Capital University is located in the capital, the political center of a country, at the feet of the emperor. The capital has a different status in everyone's heart. Being admitted to Capital University means that you can go to school in the capital, and you will have a good job after graduation, and you will be away from their place that has been considered a poor and remote place since ancient times. Madu, your father was admitted to university. Capital University. Wang Fengqiao grabbed his nephew's great-grandson. Madu nodded quickly, yes, he was admitted to the same university as Uncle Zibao, Uncle Tianzi, and Uncle Guanyu. Wow, Dad can go climb the Great Wall, visit the Forbidden City, and go to play with Uncle Erxiang and others. Wang Fengqiao was very excited, go tell your father and your mother. Among the brothers and sisters, she has the best relationship with her eldest brother Wang Zhenqiu. Wang Zhenqiu's grandson is similar to her grandson, and his behavior is 100 times better than her own grandson. Naturally, she is happy for him. Wang Zhenqiu was basking in the sun at the door of his house. When he heard the words of his eldest great-grandson, he was also very excited. Okay, our family has also produced college students. I'll go down to see your ancestors and give them an explanation. The other grandsons have all taken the college entrance examination, and only one granddaughter did not pass the preliminary selection. Most of them did well and ranked in the middle. I'll go find my father and mother. Madu had no time to listen to the end, and ran home after saying a word. Wanglu Brigade is so small, and Madu has a loud voice, so no news can be hidden from people. When he heard that Wang Qinkan and several children from the Liu family were admitted to Capital University, someone immediately came to Wang Zhenqiu and said, "Captain, our brigade has produced so many college students, at least more than 100. Don't we celebrate? Other brigades are lucky to have 10 or 8 people who pass the preliminary selection, but they can't compare to our brigade. Our brigade is about to become prosperous. Today's 10th update is over, and the flu is spreading. Everyone should keep warm. I was hit by a cold and had a terrible headache. In this new year, I can't eat meat, and I can't eat it because of the cough." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1979. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone unanimously agreed. When a person achieves the Tao, a chicken or a dog ascends to heaven. This has not changed since ancient times. The better the living standard, the more intellectuals there are, the more knowledgeable the people in the Wanglu Brigade are, and the smarter their minds are, unlike some surrounding villages who stick to 1/3 of an acre and are unwilling to go out and see the world outside. More than 100 college students have gone out, and when they succeed in their studies, there will always be a few who are willing to give back to their hometown. By then, will the folks who stayed in their hometowns be afraid that they won't be able to take advantage of it? After the cotters and intellectuals who were sent here returned to the city, which one did not repay their brigade? The combine harvester Mr. Joe sent in May came in handy. It cut the wheat very quickly, saving countless manpower. Some people even asked when the remaining old men and women could go home, and not to forget the Wanglu Brigade after leaving. Wang Zhenqiu is an upright and loyal man, and his brigade's attitude towards educated youths over the years has been quite good. Except for a few married educated youths who have been opposed by their families, most of the villagers support the educated youths in taking the college entrance examination. In this case, why not let them do so when they leave? Did they leave happily? Remember the favor from Wanglu Brigade? Captain, let's just think that we are going to kill pigs early this year. Kill 2 more pigs, 2 more sheep, catch a few more fish, catch a few chickens, ducks, and geese, and pick up 2 baskets of eggs. If you want to share them, just go away without getting involved. People who don't know how to separate will get together to celebrate the college students. They celebrate collectively and enjoy the joy of the college students. Those who have food will pay for the food, and those who have dried vegetables will take the dried vegetables. If they have enough radish and cabbage, men, women, old, and young are busy working together, but are you afraid that you won't be able to hold a big banquet? Yes, our team will produce more than 100 college students, how can we not celebrate? My family is willing to use the meat that should be distributed to my family to hold a banquet. This is a grand event that only happens once in a century. My family is also willing to eat meat as a family. It is not easy for outsiders to eat meat, but it is not as festive as a college student's celebration banquet. Let my son be happy and come back to be a college student tomorrow to make me look good. Yes, yes, there are only 4 who have been admitted to Capital University, 4. Hey, the notification letters from Zibao and his brother have arrived. Why hasn't he come back yet? From the time he finished the exam to now, he is still living at his godfather's house. Send someone to find him quickly. And Tianzi, who has been admitted to Capital University, why are you still sorting out those junk things at the scrapyard? Call them back, bring them all back, and let's have a big banquet. Captain, you can't object this time, can you? Your old Wang family alone has more than a dozen grandchildren who have passed the primary election. How can you make sense if you don't celebrate? You said something, I said something without a pause, which made Wang Zhenqiu's ears buzz and he couldn't hear clearly what they said. After a while, Wang Zhenqiu raised his hand to stop them from continuing to speak, and smiled with an old smile on his face. I understand what you mean, but the primary election does not mean that you are admitted to college. It only counts when you get the notification. Wait until you get the notification. I have received the notice, and the college students are confirmed. If you don't tell me, I will also use my own money to organize a banquet for college students. The Wanglu Brigade has a high salary, his children and grandchildren are filial, and his niece regards him as a father. Money and things are sent to him every year. Over the years, the money saved in his hands is no longer a small amount, and he can definitely afford it. Chicken, fish, meat, and eggs for the banquet. Those raised by my own team, those who go out to submit tasks and sold, the rest will be distributed to each household every year, so there is no need to vote. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1980. Wang Quilin picked up a basket of radishes from the Lu family's private plot and prepared croquettes. Taking advantage of the noon sunshine, she washed the mud on the radishes by the river. When she heard that their child had been admitted to Capital University, she quickly dropped the radishes and came over to ask. After asking what happened, I passed by the gate of Wang Zhenqiu's country and heard the conversation of a large group of people, including Wang Zhenqiu's, and couldn't help but smile. Zibao's uncle and grandfather, what you said is wrong. The crowd parted, and Wang Zhenqiu looked at Wang Quilin, who said he was wrong. What's wrong? What I said is right. We are celebrating just after the primary election. If we didn't get the notice, wouldn't the joy be in vain? Celebration, isn't it just to celebrate the young people from the Wanglu Brigade who have been admitted to college? It is not 100% guaranteed to be admitted through the preliminary selection. Their leaders here are relatively reasonable. The primary election means formal selection, basically reaching the admission score. In some areas, the screening before the college entrance examination is called the primary election. Only those who pass the primary election are eligible to participate in the college entrance examination. Wang Quilin said, notices come early and late. If we wait until the notices are received before we celebrate, some of them have already started school early. Who are you celebrating for? We at Zibao have planned it early and got the notice. Then go to the capital to find his parents. Besides, if someone passes the preliminary election but does not get the notice in the end, they are not admitted and cannot go to college. Will they feel better if you celebrate the college students who got the notice? Wang Zhenqiu said thoughtfully, you are right. As long as it makes sense. Wang Quilin waved her hands, squinting her dim eyes, her face wrinkled like yellow flowers. You decide, just tell me when you decide. I'll ask Jojo to call all the Zibao brothers. Return. Wang Zhenqiu said hurriedly, go quickly, the admission notice is waiting for them. Jojo had long heard that her husband had been admitted to Capital University. He came out after telling her grandmother, who had been lying in bed for a long time. He happened to meet Wang Quilin. Grandma Chang, I was about to tell you to go and kill their brother if they get it back. Do you want me to bring them something to celebrate? Wang Quilin chuckled, just come back and get the admission notice first. Everything else is empty and not worth mentioning. Jojo hummed and rode his bicycle out of the Wanglu Brigade. Wang Quilin returned to the river and continued washing radishes. Several women washing clothes by the river congratulated each other. Your family has 3 college students all of a sudden. Guan Yu's wife can't fail the exam, right? Jojo's grades are good, and the country gives priority to admission to normal college and medical university. I guess there will be news in 2 days. Moreover, there may be more than 3 college students in our family, and Tianjun's wife is also in the southeast military region. He took the college entrance examination. Guan Cheng and his wife also took the college entrance examination in the capital, but there is no news. Hey, have you all taken the college entrance examination? Your family is so smart, you can definitely pass it. Wang Quilin smiled slightly. The college entrance examination is all based on real ability. It is not something that can be passed by being smart or not. It is impossible to pass by just being smart without reviewing. I don't know how well they reviewed. Speaking of which, Jojo and Guan Yu have been married for several years, right? Why aren't they happy yet? Hearing the word happy, Wang Quilin squinted and looked over. In the Wanglu Brigade, being happy means being pregnant, and not being happy means not being pregnant.